Casey Cronus is live with the latest. Casey.
Hey, Don and Scott, behind the scenes, air traffic controllers were scrambling to get flights back on track. A ground delay was issued for several hours at O'Hare, and while few flights were canceled, more than 560 were delayed. With overnight lows in the single digits, a water pipe burst essentially took the airport's main control tower offline, causing many of those delays. While repairs were made, air traffic controllers were forced to relocate to O'Hare's north and south towers, and the Federal Aviation Administration imposed a ground delay program. About 60% of the affected flights were inbound. Ironically, the mayor's office announced today that for the first time since 2019, O'Hare has overtaken Atlanta for the busiest airfield in the U.S. We caught up with some travelers who were delayed coming and going.
The captain came over the intercom and just told us that the air traffic tower was down and that it's going to delay our flight by a little bit. So we sat on the runway, waited till we had clearance, and then took off. It was before takeoff. We knew well before, so we sat on the runway to even take off like an hour or two in advance.
I'm traveling to Shanghai, China today. I think it was 4 p.m. and now it's delayed to 7. There's nothing I can do. I have an international flight. I have to be there, right?
For the Jackson family, getting delayed coming back from Florida was the least of their concerns after the weekend they had.
We still have half of our team stuck in Daytona. Some of them, flights got pushed back hours.
Christian Jackson Jr. played in the All-American Youth Football Championship for Team Illinois and even brought home some hardware.
Happy to be a champ. It didn't really bother me. This is my medal. It says 5-star Daytona Beach with the red football, and it says All-American Youth Football with 5-star Nation.
The FAA has not revealed how much damage the pipe burst caused or the status of repairs, but tells us operations are back up to speed. Reporting live at O'Hare, Casey Cronus, Fox Chicago.
Okay, so if your coping mechanism for all this cold has been the fact that we haven't seen a lot of snow, brace yourself because changes are coming, Emily.
That's right. We have snow in your forecast returning later on this evening. That's going to be lasting into your Wednesday morning commute. So for locations, especially north and east of I-80, that's where we're looking at accumulating snowfall tonight. And again, that is going to be impacting your Wednesday morning commute. So here's where the system is now. It's farther off to our west. We do not have any snow flying just yet, but that's going to begin later on this evening. So we actually have a winter weather advisory that's going into effect for those of you in McHenry and Lake County beginning at 8 p.m. The next tier of counties from DeKalb and Duquesne, DuPage, northern and central Cook counties has a winter weather advisory beginning at 10 p.m. Both of these going to be coming to an end at 8 a.m. tomorrow. But in that time, I think we're looking at 1 to 4 inches of snow being possible. The highest amount's going to be closer to the Wisconsin state line. So for those of you in McHenry and Lake, you're looking at, generally speaking, a 2 to 4 inch snowfall. From DeKalb over into Cook County, that's where we're looking at 1 to 3 inches being possible. Temperatures are cold, but it's going to get a lot colder later this week. I'm talking wind chills as cold as 30 below. Those details coming up.
If you live in Northwest Indiana, you may be concerned about your recent utility bills.
NIPSCO already charges more for electricity than anyone else in the state. Brett Bagansky live in Hammond. Our viewers told you this is hurting them big time, Brett.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of messages from our viewers in Northwest Indiana, and this has become such a big deal. They're planning a protest outside here in Hammond, Indiana, scheduled for February 1st. So we just wanted to show you just one of the examples that some of our viewers have been sending us. So what you're seeing now is a bill compared from May of 2024 to May of 2025. So let's focus on the gas portion. So from May of 2024, the person was charged about $33 and change, and it went up from this past May of 2025 to $153. And get this, the total usage went down year to date. And we noticed NIPSCO charged significantly more money for what it calls a delivery charge. So you'd see it went up from $24 to $88, and she wasn't the only one. So I also spoke with Kelly Hicks, who is from Hamlet, who has a similar billing issue, and she told me she had to get a second job just so her and her family can afford these bills.
Do they know how many people they're affecting? I mean, and it's more, and I think of the elderly that are truly on the fixed incomes that have medication and things that they have to have, that they have to make some decisions. And you listen to them when you're standing at the line, you know, at Walgreens, and it's sad because they shouldn't have to make those decisions. They never had to until now.
So I reached out to NIPSCO with some of these questions and concerns from our viewers, and they gave us a full statement that you're going to see later on our website, fox32chicago.com. But they said it comes down to a few things. Number one, they said the natural gas rates are set by the market, so it can tend to fluctuate over time. But they also said that delivery charge, or that delivery fee that you're seeing on your bill, they said it goes to pay some of the transportation costs when it comes to delivering the natural gas throughout the state of Indiana, but also to upgrading and maintaining their current infrastructure. So certainly that piece of information is not sitting well with our viewers, hence why there is a protest scheduled here for February 1st. We are live in Hammond, Indiana tonight. Brett Bagansky, Fox Chicago.
Now to breaking news. Mayor Johnson backing away from plans to reclaim Chicago's parking meter system. Back in 2008, former Mayor Richard M. Daley arranged a multi-generational deal. And in order to break that contract, the city of Chicago would have to borrow billions to buy out the 57 years that remain with Chicago Parking Meters LLC. However, Mayor Johnson says they did look into making a deal.
Not look into it would have been deeply irresponsible. We had our teams run the numbers and look at every variation of a potential deal. However, the more we looked into it, the more problems emerged. In fact, many of the concerns expressed by members of the City Council and other stakeholders from prior administrations gave us the same pause.
Johnson adding the price just too high if they did borrow the money to do it. Johnson says 100% of parking revenue would go towards paying off the debt for some 40 years, and City Council would have to keep voting to raise parking rates just to keep up.
The Chicago man charged with killing his ex-wife and her husband is now behind bars in Ohio. That is where Michael McKee is accused of shooting Monique and Spencer Tepe to death in December. McKee was booked into jail today. He was indicted by a grand jury last week, charged with aggravated murder and aggravated burglary while using a firearm suppressor. Some Chicago families are demanding a nursing home pay them for damages that they have been awarded. A press conference today at the law office of Levin and Perconti, who has represented multiple families in nursing home lawsuits. They say 31 families sued the CEO of a company called Strawberry Fields Real Estate Investment that owns more than 140 nursing homes in multiple states, including Illinois. That CEO is Moshe Gubin. They were awarded damages for the neglect and abuse of their loved ones, but the attorneys say he refuses to pay the families that they represent. They want the state to hold owners accountable.
Instead of using his great financial resources to provide quality care to our most vulnerable citizens, he underfunds and understaffs the nursing homes, resulting in negligent care that causes serious harm and even death.
This nursing home betrayed our trust, violated me with the loss of my mom, our mom. It just turns out that she would have been better, safer on the streets of Chicago rather than in Lakeview Rehab Nursing Center.
We chose Oakland Nursing Home in southwest suburbs. Within a few months, her health deteriorated. We received a phone call from emergency room that she was sent with severe blood pressure wounds that were untreatable and unoperable. We were just shocked.
The families are demanding the nursing home owner pay damages, but say more than anything, they just want justice for other families so this stops happening in Illinois.
Trial for a Chicago man accused of putting a hit on Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino beginning today at the Dirksen Federal Courthouse. Today was jury selection. Juan Espinoza Martinez is accused of offering $10,000 for Bovino's death back in October. Prosecutors claim he is a ranking member of the Latin Kings. Last week, the judge ruled they cannot bring that up in trial. A photo from the Department of Homeland Security shows a Snapchat message allegedly sent by Martinez with a photo of Bovino, saying he's offering $2,000 for information and $10,000 to take him down. President Donald Trump marking 1 year in office in his second term today. Some of the decisions in the past year include the capture of former Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, imposing tariffs on imports, and a massive immigration crackdown. New polling from the Associated Press finds Americans remain deeply divided over the president's performance. Roughly 4 in 10 adults approve of Trump's overall job performance.
He spoke for a little under 2 hours today from the White House. In the president's speech, he renewed threats to withhold all federal funding from blue states like Illinois.
He says it's based on sanctuary laws.
You got to get rid of your sanctuary cities, and I hope our people know that we're not going to pay sanctuary cities. We're not going to pay them anymore. They are sanctuary for criminals. They hold criminals. We're not going to pay. They can sue us, and maybe they'll win. But we're not giving money to sanctuary cities anymore.
But can he actually do that? Political reporter Parashut's joining us in studio with more.
Scott and Dawn, it sounds like he may know the answer there when he says they can sue us and they may win. In fact, the city of Chicago has won repeatedly in the past on this question. And Governor Pritzker says if the president follows through on these threats to freeze all federal funding to Illinois starting February 1st, it means billions of dollars for everything from public safety grants to health care, child care, and infrastructure projects. And Pritzker says Trump is picking on blue states because of politics.
He's got no right. And it's clear from the law that, you know, when you want to take funding away from a state like this, there are processes for determining whether or not that funding should be taken away. They did none of that. It was just like an announcement to punish his political opponents. And so I just want to be clear, we're going to continue to fight him in court. We're continuing to accept funding from the federal government because they've been pushed back on by the court.
Now, the president tried this in 2017. Chicago under Mayor Rahm Emanuel then went to court, sued, and won. The funds had to be released. Lower and appellate courts have ruled repeatedly the president does not have the authority to cancel funding that's already been approved by Congress. Courts have also ruled that sanctuary laws, no matter how controversial, are constitutional and don't run afoul of the Constitution. Congress has the power of the purse, and UIC law professor Stephen Schwinn explains that courts would probably act quickly to block the president from following through on February.
This is Congress's responsibility. In our system, Congress has what we call the power of the purse. And so Congress gets to set spending levels on particular projects. Sometimes Congress puts conditions on those projects. President Trump is in the role where he has to spend the money that Congress has appropriated on the projects that Congress has identified. And if there are conditions on that funding, with the conditions that Congress has identified, the president just can't make up conditions or just can't withhold funding for policy disagreements.
Now, Schwinn mentions that there is some scant funding that the president does have discretion over because it's expressly written into law by Congress. But without that, the president has to follow the laws on the books, and that funding has already been appropriated. Scott?
All right, Paris, thanks for that. Meanwhile, Moms for Democracy, a grassroots organization here in Chicago, rallied in Federal Plaza on the 1-year anniversary of Trump's second term. With support from the Illinois ACLU and the League of Women's Voters, the group called for solidarity in the aftermath of the shooting death of Renee Good in Minneapolis and ICE enforcement here in Chicago.
Authoritarians use chaos to confuse, to make us feel scared, to keep us silent. They want you to feel like there's nothing you can do. They do this because they know that they are the ones that don't have the power.
The ACLU of Illinois says since Trump took office, it has filed 140 legal actions against his administration, delaying and in some cases defeating many of the initiatives he has tried to impose on blue states.
Stocks sinking on Wall Street today with the NASDAQ and S&P 500 wiping out gains for the year. Tension escalated after President Trump reignited trade war tensions with Europe over Greenland just as earnings season gets going. European markets also fell while gold prices surged.
Still ahead of the news at 5, we'll have more on how European leaders are reacting to Trump's tariff threats.
Plus, we're live in Naperville where a controversial data center is taking center stage.
And canned tuna that was recalled a year ago accidentally sent to stores right here in Illinois.
Fox 32 News.
Right now, Naperville city leaders are bracing for what could be a long and emotional meeting.
Yeah, they're talking about a data center. Again, this is something residents have been fighting for months.
Leslie Moreno joins us live in Naperville with what's at stake. Leslie.
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, that meeting kicks off at 7 o'clock here at Village Hall. This is all surrounding that massive and controversial data center, which would be housed along Naperville and Warrenville roads. We're talking about a more than 200,000 square foot facility with dozens of diesel generators. Residents who live nearby say the location is the biggest issue. The area is surrounded by neighborhoods, forest preserves, and family-friendly spaces. Many neighbors say an industrial-style development simply doesn't belong here. City council members will have to decide whether the project meets the city standards for a conditional use permit. Neighbors argue it doesn't, pointing to zoning plans that have leaned more residential in recent years. There are also concerns about air quality, noise, property values, and the electrical grid. Here's a Naperville councilman on the impact this could have for families and their wallets.
Emissions from 24 diesel generators, which are about the size of locomotives, are a real concern. There's a sensory garden for children with autism nearby, a Montessori school, and a place of worship. Even phase one of the data center that is being proposed would use as much power as tens of thousands of Naperville residents. Now, that's not the primary legal thing that I have to focus on when making this decision, but it's definitely out there.
City Council will hear again from the developer and from residents at tonight's meeting. City leaders say they're expecting a huge turnout again. That meeting kicks off at 7 o'clock here at City Hall. We're now reporting live here in Naperville. Leslie Moreno, Fox, Chicago.
In Minnesota, federal prosecutors are serving 6 grand jury subpoenas to state officials. This is part of an investigation into whether they obstructed or impeded federal law enforcement during a sweeping immigration operation in Minneapolis and St. Paul. The subpoenas were sent to Governor Tim Walz, the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul, the attorney general, and other officials. And back here at home, high schoolers in Oak Park and River Forest are marching to demand human rights protections and calling for ICE to be defunded. This is part of a nationwide day of action.
President Trump is flying to Switzerland tonight. That's where the World Economic Forum is, and his bid to acquire Greenland is likely going to come up. European leaders plan to stand together against it. Trump says he'll put a 10% tariff on 8 European countries if they try to block the purchase. It could go up to 25% by June if there's no deal. Hear the reaction to that threat for yourself.
Combined with an endless accumulation of new tariffs that are fundamentally unacceptable, even more so when they are used as leverage against territorial sovereignty.
I tell everyone, sit back, take a deep breath, do not retaliate, do not retaliate.
Trump says the U.S. needs Greenland for national security. Some military experts agree with him. We're still waiting on a Supreme Court ruling on the president's tariff authority, which could impact these new European tariffs. Dawn.
Thank you, Terrence. A warning tonight from the FDA. Yellowfin tuna that was recalled last year because of the risk of serious bacterial infection was inadvertently shipped out to several states, and that includes Illinois and Indiana. The FDA says Genova yellowfin tuna was originally recalled last February because of a defect with the seal on the pull tab, and that means the lid could leak or be contaminated with botulism. The tuna was sold at Meijer stores here, and we have information including lot numbers on fox32chicago.com.
Well, folks were shaking in downstate Illinois early this morning. The U.S. Geological Survey says it was a 3.8 magnitude tremor, hit about 1:30 a.m. Epicenter about 2.5 miles northwest of Ullman. If you've heard of it, you know it's in southern Christian County. That's just south of Springfield, although some folks say they felt it as far away as St. Louis. The good news, no reports of any damage.
All right, let's talk about our forecast here. It's getting cold and the snow is coming too, even though that picture looks beautiful. You never know it.
Yeah, it looks so pretty out there right now. We have temperatures that are currently sitting in the upper teens to low 20s, so it's really not so bad out there as far as temperatures are concerned. But this evening and tonight, we are tracking another wave of snow coming through. So we actually have a winter weather advisory that's been issued from DeKalb over into northern and central Cook counties and then northward to the Wisconsin state line. I think highest amounts likely going to be found in McHenry and Lake counties, where as much as 2 2, maybe locally up to around 4 inches could be possible if some heavier banding begins to develop. But for the southern tier of counties here, from DeKalb into northern and central Cook County, I still think this is really only going to be maybe an inch, maybe close to 2 if we're able to tap into some of those heavier bands. But this seems to be, I think, on the lighter end for that southern tier of the advisory. Futurecast taking us throughout the rest of this evening and tonight. Again, we do have that snow coming in during the late evening, and then that's going to last into the morning commute tomorrow. So plan ahead that you could be dealing with snow still during that Wednesday morning commute. That's going to be slowing you down. Very cold conditions late this week. By Thursday night into Friday, temps are dropping below 0, and that high of 4 on Friday, that's before the sun even comes up. During the day, we're going to struggle to even reach 0. We'll be right back.
You must
The defense now taking over in the trial of a former Uvalde police officer.
The prosecution resting its case today after spending more than a week trying to convince jurors that Adrian Gonzalez failed in his duties to stop the gunman in the Robb Elementary School attack. Police waited more than an hour to act in the 2022 shooting that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead. The defense is arguing that Gonzalez is being unfairly blamed for a broader law enforcement failure that day.
The governor of New Jersey signing new laws that aim to cut down on teen violence. This after the iconic boardwalk turned into a massive and chaotic scene. Teens and young adults going after one another. There are 2 new laws on the books. One law makes parents of kids involved potentially legally responsible for their actions. In some cases, that could mean a $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail for some parents.
There's a new social experiment inside of a San Francisco payphone. It's called the Party Line, and the goal is to get conversations started and connect people who may not share the same political views. On the phone, a sign invites people to talk to a Republican. The line is connected to a similar phone in Abilene, Texas, one of the most politically conservative parts of the county. People there are encouraged to chat with a Democrat. Organizers are recording the calls, hoping for connections that demonstrate that we are more alike than different.
Okay, we know hockey fights happen all the time, right? But seldom do we see the goaltenders throwing down. Happened last night. First goalie fight in about a quarter century. San Jose Sharks in Florida taking on the Panthers. Fight breaks out. Goalies say, yeah, we're going to get into the melee, eventually squaring off against each other. The Sharks goalie apparently won this one, knocking the other one down. The Sharks also won the game 4-1.
Bad day to be a food delivery robot. This train in Miami destroying this poor robot to bits. We're told it had been stuck on the tracks for about 15 minutes before being demolished. The company that makes the robot says this is a, quote, extremely rare hardware failure. Still ahead on the news at 5, the world's largest celebration of jazz is coming to Chicago.
And athletes and broadcasters and coaches all being honored today by the LGBTQ Hall of Fame.
I'm Tina Wynn. Later in sports, Jonathan Tays returned to the United Center last night. Hear what the former captain had to say about the incredible ovation he received from Hawks fans. Plus, the Bulls have battled injury issues all season long, but they could be getting a big lift soon. Josh Giddey is close to returning and could play tonight against the Clippers. Bulls guard Trey Jones on what a healthy Giddey means to this team.
Live better, vote more.
Now at the bottom of the hour, not only are we stuck with this bitter cold, but the snow is starting to fall as well.
Breaking barriers and making a lasting impact. The LGBTQ Sports Hall of Fame announcing this year's honorees.
First, a Chicago designer turning unimaginable loss into purpose.
Yeah, stitch by stitch. She's using her love for football and fashion to honor lives lost and fight to save her own dream.
Her work has got the attention of celebrities, even the Chicago Bears family, but now time is running out. Tia Ewing is here with her story.
Well, Don and Scott, she's really trying to save her business, which would be her studio, because as of right now, it has thousands of dollars in back taxes that she didn't know about. Tisa Johnson Banks made a sweater for Caleb Williams and posted it online. Simone Biles saw the post and made that connection, and that changed everything. For Tisa, every stitch tells a story. Tisa Johnson Banks has stitched her life back together, not once, not twice, but 4 times.
I lost one brother June 2023, June 2024, June 2025. I lost 4 sons back to back.
Grief nearly unraveled her, but instead of folding, she threaded her pain into purpose.
The first one I ever did is actually this one here in honor of my brother. It was a sweater at first, and then when I re-rocked it, I took the sleeves off and turned into a vest.
And so what do? You go through all the pictures and...
Yeah, so this was my very, very first one. So the designs aren't so crisp. Like when I started doing it more and started getting real deep into it, and I start, researching and getting better with my graphics.
Johnson Banks learned to sew at just 7 years old at the Boys and Girls Club, a skill that would later become her lifeline.
I'm familiar with loss, but at the end of the day, I have to keep living my life and keep pushing.
Today, the Chicago designer creates commemorative sweaters, each stitch carrying a story.
Most of the time it's for people, loved ones that passed away.
But before fashion ever entered the picture, the 40-year-old's real dream was football.
I love sports, and I always wanted to play football, but they told me girls don't play football.
Well, now they
do.
That call didn't stand. The wife and mother of 4 still fell hard for the game. Her team, the Chicago Bears.
I actually created this yesterday. Time was ticking, so I had to finish it up in the car on my way to the game. Yes, so I had to hand stitch everything. The back I did on my machine because it was easy to do. But the front legs, I had to hand stitch everything.
She and her husband Johnny were sitting inches from the 50-yard line for the Bears-Packers showdown. Proof that sometimes passion gets you field position. Using her love for design, Johnson Banks has created custom pieces for celebrities like singers. But one design stood out, a sweater made for Bears quarterback Caleb Williams.
I just made it, and it just went viral. And then I don't ask people for help. And I heard that voice say, put it on social media and let your social media do the work.
She took the ask to social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, hoping someone would help complete the pass.
I had an Instagram message. I'm about to message you. And it was Simone Biles.
She caught the eye of Olympic gold medalist Simone Biles Owens, wife of Bears safety Jonathan Owen. Simone commented for the designer to check her DMs. This was the message inside.
And she said, hey, I seen your sweater with the Iceman. It is so sickening. And then she messaged me back like I'm going to reach out to his team and to his mom. She reached back. She said his mom would love to wear the sweaters.
Just before the meetup, Johnson Banks got a surprise blitz. The sweater wasn't for Caleb after all. It was for his mother.
So I altered it, and I had it ready in 5 minutes.
The moment changed everything. Orders have been coming in.
So I have 210 text messages I have to go through.
But that money already has a destination.
Doing what I need to do to raise the money to save my building.
How much money have you raised so far?
Right, so far I raised $21,000. To save the building is $46,000.
Johnson Banks bought this Chicago building to serve as her studio, only to discover it came with broken doors, stripped copper, and back taxes she never saw coming. That has to be
paid by February 27th.
The $46,000.
Yes.
What are you thinking now? That's getting close. We're a few weeks away.
Grind, put in orders.
Now every dollar she earns goes towards saving it, and the clock is ticking.
This is the finished hat that I just completed.
That was what, 2 minutes?
Yes.
She's racing against time, taking orders, hoping she can stitch together one final comeback before time runs out. And if you're interested in one of those one-of-a-kind designs, Tisa is still taking orders. You can visit her website at tisawithat.com. Tia Ewing, Fox Chicago.
She is so talented. The LGBTQ Sports Hall of Fame just named their new class. One of them has a connection to a former Bulls player.
Here comes Rondo. He kicked him out for staring him down.
Yeah. No, Rondo got ejected from that game for calling that ref a homophobic slur. That's Bill Kennedy. He's been officiating in the league for 26 seasons. This was a season before Rondo played for Chicago. After that game, Kennedy came out publicly as a gay man, and now he is being inducted. Robin Roberts is too. The Good Morning America anchor came out in 2013. So is Nikki Hiltz, a middle distance runner who competed in the Paris Olympics. They identify as trans and non-binary. Billie Jean King and Jason Collins are getting the Glenn Burke Award, named in honor of the former Dodger, who was one of the first openly gay pro athletes, fitting since Collins was the first active NBA player to come out as gay. Anthony Nicodemo is also going in. He coaches high school basketball.
The 2026 class will stand alongside 61 fellow pioneers whose courage and advocacy helped create a more inclusive and equitable world in sports. At a moment when our history is being challenged, and in a lot of cases rewritten, honoring and amplifying these stories that brought us here isn't just meaningful, it's really necessary.
The induction ceremony is June 25th in New York City. That's during Pride Week. After that, it comes back to Chicago in 2027, where it all began. We have more information about the honorees on our website. Scott.
Congratulations to them all. Terrence, thank you. All right, so your commute home going to look a lot different than your commute tomorrow morning, says Emily.
That's right. So we have snow that is going to be arriving in the next few hours around here. That's going to continue on and off through the night, impacting your Wednesday morning commute, especially for those of you near and north of I-80. That's where we could be seeing some accumulation here. So the satellite radar, notice off to our west, that area of snow is beginning to expand. So that's going to be moving in late this evening. We actually have a winter weather advisory that's beginning at 8 p.m. for those of you in McHenry County and Lake County, from DeKalb over into Cook County, this southern tier of counties here in the advisory. That's going to begin at 10 p.m., lasting until 8 a.m. Now, as far as accumulations are concerned, I think for a lot of us, this is going to be a 1, maybe 2-inch event. But for those of you in McHenry and Lake counties, this is where we could be seeing some locally higher amounts, 2 to 4 inches going to be possible there. Your 3-day forecast. Tonight, we are dropping down into the teens, so just a few degrees cooler than where we are right now. Tomorrow, we're in the upper 20s. We will have another round of snow showers being possible tomorrow evening. And then after that, it gets much colder. On Thursday, 22, partly cloudy skies. Thursday night into Friday, temperatures drop off in a really big way. This high of 4 on Friday, that's before the sun even comes up. I think during the daytime, we're going to struggle to reach 0, and wind chills could be as cold as 30 below. Back to you.
Chicago, the birthplace of blues, is hosting the International Jazz Day.
We'll tell you how the city's rich past is going to be highlighted on a global stage.
Fox.
Chicago, of course, proud of its role as one of the world's great cultural capitals, and that's going to be on display this April when it becomes the jazz center of the world.
Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor J.B. Pritzker announcing today that our city has been selected to host the world's leading jazz celebration.
Yeah, Dane Placco at the Chicago Cultural Center with the story.
Chicago has had a long and influential role in the development of jazz in this country, but it has never been named a host city for International Jazz Day until now. The world's largest celebration of jazz will be coming to Chicago in April to celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States, the 100th birthday of the late jazz legend Miles Davis, and the opening of the Obama Presidential Center on the South Side.
Chicago is a jazz city.
This is the 15th International Jazz Day, which has been held in cities across the globe, but never in Chicago, which is considered one of the birthplaces of jazz and home to jazz legends like Louis Armstrong, Nat King Cole, Dinah Washington, and the late Quincy Jones.
This is going to be just an incredible celebration of an art form that helped shape America's cultural heartbeat and found one of its greatest homes right here in what we call in the state of Illinois the middle of everything.
At the end of April, some of the world's greatest jazz performers will descend on Chicago for a series of performances, educational programs, and community outreach across the city, and culminate in an all-star global concert led by jazz legend and Chicagoan Herbie Hancock that will be broadcast to 190 countries.
During the Great Migration, it's black families from the South that flocked to Chicago, bringing rich jazz and blues traditions with them, and they transformed the sound of our great city.
Chicago-based jazz vocalist Kurt Elling was among the artists who lobbied to bring the celebration to Chicago. Why is it important to bring this to Chicago?
It's important to bring it to Chicago because people think of Chicago as a flyover city. They don't recognize the incredible glories that are here. We're here. The music is swinging. The food is killing. The views are incredible. We gotta all just show this off to the world.
That big jazz performance that'll happen here in Chicago on April 30th is expected to be broadcast to more than 250 million people across the globe. At the Cultural Center, Dane Placco, Fox Chicago News.
I'm Tina Wynn. Next in sports, the Bulls host the Clippers tonight and could be getting some help with Josh Giddey close to returning. Hear from guard Trey Jones on his impact, and the captain's return was an incredible scene at the United Center last night. Jonathan Taves gets emotional. Nice standing ovation there from the crowd. More on this next in sports.
It's been another cold winter day, but temperatures, they were at least warmer than where we were the last couple of days. Many of us today topped out in the upper teens to mid-20s. Currently, we're down to about 18 degrees at O'Hare, 19 at the lakefront, 21 in Gary, 19 in Merrillville, 18 in Valparaiso, down to 12 degrees already in Woodstock, and it's 19 in Aurora. Also, we're tracking snow that's going to be here in just a few hours, and that's going to continue on and off through the overnight. So your Wednesday morning commute, we are going to be dealing with some impacts, especially for locations near north of I-80 across northeastern Illinois. So most locations in northeast Illinois at this point looking like we're going to end up in the 1 to 3 inch range. With that said, for those of you in McHenry and Lake counties, the closer that you are to the Wisconsin state line, we could be seeing those totals getting a little bit closer to 4 inches. And if heavier banding sets up, then we could even see locally higher amounts than that. So we do have that wide range, but I think on average, most areas from DeKalb County over into northern central Cook County, this is likely only going to be a 1 to 2 inch event. The far northern extent, McHenry and Lake County, 2 to 4 inches for you. That advisory is going to come to an end by 8 a.m. tomorrow. But again, your morning commute tomorrow, we're going to have some of those impacts, and there still could be some snow falling right around daybreak. That's very quickly going to shift out of here. And then during the evening into the overnight hours of Wednesday, that's when we see another push of cold air beginning to move in. And that's going to come along with the chance of some gusty snow showers Wednesday evening. By Thursday, we stay dry, but it's going to start to get very cold. We have temperatures near 20 for your high on Thursday, but Thursday night, temperatures are going to drop off in a really big way. We're talking sub-zero low temperatures. The high temperature that you see on Friday of 4 degrees, that's actually going to be set before the sun even comes up. Daytime temps are going to struggle to reach 0, and wind chill temperatures on Friday could be as cold as 30 degrees below 0. Tina.
All right, Emily, time now for sports. Exactly 1 year ago, the Bears hired Ben Johnson as head coach, and safe to say it's paid off. Year one under Johnson saw the Bears' first playoff win in 15 seasons, clinching the NFC North, the number 2 seed in the NFC, and their first winning season since 2018. Johnson has exceeded expectations and has certainly revived this franchise. Tomorrow, Bears GM Ryan Poles is set to address the media for his end-of-season press conference. Here's Lou Canellis and the NFC North crew on First and North.
And just when you thought you had seen it all from Caleb, you were reminded you have not.
I mean, that throw from Caleb Williams to Cole Kmet was one of the all-time throws. It was improbable. It was insane. I mean, you should have heard us in the sports office. We were just jaw on the floor. Unbelievable.
I think this division, guys, and I'm sure it will come up, is going to be a beast next year. I think he's certainly part of that. I think Minnesota's still talented. I think we're still talented. I think Green Bay's still talented. And I think it's going to be a heck of a battle, and certainly Williams is right in the middle of it.
All right, new episode of First and North tonight at 9:30, or you can watch it at 6 p.m. on the Fox local app. All right, to the NBA, Bulls hosting the Clippers at the UC, and they've got their hands full. Clippers coming into town, yes, with no Kawhi Leonard, but they are on a 6-game winning streak, and they've done it by turning defense into offense, averaging about 16 turnovers a game. So winning the turnover battle will be key here for the Bulls. What else could be key? Getting Josh Giddey back. Giddey missed the last 10 games with a hamstring injury. He's listed as questionable, but could suit up tonight. Here's Trey Jones on his impact.
Definitely help us a lot, for sure. Obviously, I think he's an all-star, but he's been playing at that level for us the entire year, and it's definitely hurt not having him on the court with us. He impacts the game in so many different ways, and so it'll be really nice to get him back out there for us, especially with the stretch we have coming up.
Well, last night, also at the United Center, it was a special moment for Blackhawks fans as Jonathan Toews made his return to Chicago, and Hawks fans showed their appreciation for one of the most legendary athletes in Chicago history. A long and emotional moment for the former captain. 3 minutes, 30 seconds, a standing ovation from this UC crowd. You see here, he helped bring 3 Stanley Cups to this city. Spent 15 seasons here. Fans were on their feet, chanting his name as a tribute video played, and he soaked it all in. A reminder of just how much number 19 still means to the city.
It blew me away, obviously. Yeah, it's a crazy moment to again get that reception from the fans, and pretty special, something I'll remember forever. Spent some special years here in Chicago, and that's what made playing for the Blackhawks so great. I mean, winning championships, all that stuff aside, just playing for a sports team in this city and calling this home for as long as I did was just incredible, and can't thank them enough. So yeah, so always be home and have a special place in my heart.
Well, Taves wasn't the only star at the UC last night. Caleb Williams and Peaker Armstrong were in attendance and went viral for this moment. Take a look.
That's one right there. What a performance.
Yeah, Iceman, how about that? The United Center, of course, they went nuts. After the game, Williams and PCA went into the Hawks locker room for pictures. Caleb Williams even had Connor Bedard sign the number 98 jersey he was wearing. So cool to see 3 of Chicago's biggest sports stars here supporting each other. All right, in college hoops, the Illini basketball star guard Kylan Boswell has a broken hand and is out until February. Back with more after this break.
Fox 30.
A 9-year-old boy from the UK busted on live TV.
Sammy Scott was spotted on camera celebrating at a soccer match. Well, the problem is his mom told the school he was homesick. His face made it easy to see why the photo went viral, but school officials saw it too, and it triggered an email that his absence would now be marked unauthorized. Fans rushed to Sammy's defense, including a former pro soccer player. His dad says Sammy is a straight-A student, and before this had perfect attendance.
Write a paper about it.
Yeah. But also, if you're the parent and you're say that your kid's not going to be in school, the end, absent.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, opinions aside.
He's not alone.
7-day forecast for you. Tonight, we are looking at accumulating snowfall being possible near and north of I-80. As much as 2 to 4 inches for those of you in McHenry and Lake County. Everywhere else from DeKalb County over into Cook County, we could be experiencing 1 to 2 inches of snow. So not a ton, but enough to make a mess of the Wednesday morning commute. Thursday night, we are dropping sub-zero and wind chills by Friday morning and during the day. Could be as cold as 30 below.
All right, thanks for joining us at 5.
Now you can stream us on your smart TV with Fox Local.
We are on all the streaming platforms.
Family Feud is next. We'll see you back here for the news at 9.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.